Hey, what's up guys? In the previous video we talked about variables and all that stuff. Now we are going to operate with those variables and with those values and the types that I mentioned before. So yeah, as you can see, we are still on that tutorials directory that we created before, and now we are going to declare two variables. First one is going to be called box1, and we are going to assign it the value 1.5. The second one is going to be called box2, and the value is going to be 1. So if we want to operate them, the syntax is very simple. So for example, let's create another variable called box3, and in this one we are going to have the result of box1 plus box2, and we want to know the result, so we basically print the box3. As you can see, Python is very intuitive. So as in the previous episode, in order to execute this program, well, not this, we press new terminal, Python test2, ignore this again, and execute 2.5. This is what we expected. 1 plus 1.5 is this. But we can do a lot of things. For example, this is the addition, but subtraction is this one. So for example, if we now execute it again, 0.5. But we can also divide it. And if we now do this, 1.5 divided by 1 is this. And if we want to multiply, and let's change this number, for example, you see that the value changes. So these are the operation: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So yeah, this is pretty simple. In order to do basic arithmetical operations, we just simply have to type these kinds of things. But as I mentioned before, we are now operating between integers and float variables. And with this, there isn't a problem. But what if we operate with a number with a message? It doesn't have sense to do it, but let's try it. So for example, we could do this. Hello world. And if we executed this, error, can multiply by non-int type float. We cannot do this operation. We cannot multiply a message by a number. But let's read closely what the error was saying. So for example, if we execute this again, we see that the error is saying can't multiply sequence by non-int of type float. This means that you can multiply a number by a message. But for now, ignore this. But just think that you cannot multiply 2 by m. That's what I'm trying to say. That you cannot do that. That you can only operate between variables of the same type. But as I said before, if we put a 2 here, you can see that when we execute this, what is printed is the message twice. What we are saying to the program is, okay, take 2 and repeat this message 2 times. As you can see, 2 by hello world, what it's doing is taking hello world and hello world. If we put 4, it's going to put it 4 times, but this is because we are multiplying. If we try to add, this is not going to work. Error. You see? Now, unsupported operand types for int and string. We cannot operate between numbers and messages. So for example, if I put here 4.5, now the error is going to say between float and str, string. We cannot operate between numbers and strings. Python has a lot of tricks and can do for us that thing in which it repeats the message. But you have to hard code in your mind that it's not a good idea to multiply, to operate numbers between strings. So as before, inside the print, we can also put the operation. So for example, if we put here 4 plus 8, and let's remove this, we don't want errors. What is printed is the result. You can see here that we print the result of that operation. So the computer, what it does is it does this first, the operation, and then takes the value and prints it. So yeah, I think that this is all for this operations video. I hope you like it and that it's been useful. See you in the next one. Don't forget to go and check my website, in which I talk about trading and cryptocurrencies and all that stuff for a very cheap price.
Damn, Sosa. You going crazy.
Rest in peace, Big Pop. Quédate tranquilo, 666. Estoy bajando todo, lo siento. Te quedas en nada. Rest in peace, Big Pop.